could pass a lie detector test on saying anything. Like there's a coldness inside that
he's
allows.
He's a sociopath. I think
That's
he's
kind of
a
the word.
snake oil salesman. I think he's a liar, and I think that he destroyed the state of California. Full stop.
You know, sometimes politics feels like a bad Netflix series that just won't end. Same characters, same plot twists, same predictable nonsense. But every once in a while, something happens that makes even the most loyal fans of the political drama stop and say, wait a second. Maybe the main character isn't who we thought he was. That's exactly what's going down right now with Gavin Newsom. Now, let me warn you, this isn't your usual Newsom is a bad governor rant. Oh no, this is about something deeper because the mask is slipping, folks. And it's not just conservatives calling him out anymore. When people on the left, yes, the left, start exposing Newsom for what he really is, you know it's serious. Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks, a woman who's built her career defending progressive causes, recently dropped a bombshell. She called Gavin Newsom what many of us have been saying for years, a sociopath. And I've got to say, when even your own cheerleaders are calling you cold-blooded, it's probably time to rethink the whole future president fantasy.
He has shafted Californians who have lost everything in wildfires. The fire in Paradise, California was absolutely devastating. An entire community burnt down.
But let's back up. Why does this matter? Well, Gavin Newsom has been painted as the golden boy of the Democratic Party. The guy with Hollywood looks, slick speeches, and enough charm to sell water to a drowning man. He's the one they keep floating as the backup plan if Biden completely falls apart. He's supposed to be the savior waiting in the wings. But here's the thing. What happens when people realize the so-called savior is actually part of the problem?
Gavin Newsom, he's got some talent, I think, and charming for sure. But like, what is going on? Is he aware of that? I've asked him, and I
You really find him charming?
Well, in a kind of reptilian way.
Let's start with the wildfires. If you're from California, you know the story all too well. Entire towns wiped out, families losing everything, and in the middle of this tragedy, Gavin Newsom strutted around like he had it all under control. He bragged about helicopters, water supplies, fire trucks, painting this picture of a state fully prepared for disaster. But when the flames came, reality hit harder than a freight train. Over half the fire trucks busted. Hydrants bone dry. The dam already destroyed. It was like promising Californians a safety net only to hand them a paper napkin when they fell. And while people were choking on smoke and watching their lives turn to ashes, Newsom was busy polishing his PR image. That's not leadership. That's deception with a smile.
Devoted to winning people over.
Yes.
Kind of like Bill Clinton was. And I think he's good at it. But I also think someone said to me the other day, Newsom could pass a lie detector test on saying anything. Like there's a coldness inside that allows.
He's a sociopath.
And it gets worse. Because when investigators traced the cause of the Paradise fire, the one that burned an entire community to the ground, it wasn't just some freak accident. No, it was PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric.
The fire in Paradise, California was absolutely devastating. An entire community burnt down as the result of PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, that's the utility company, refusing to upgrade their aging equipment.
The company had been running ancient, outdated equipment that everyone knew was a ticking time bomb. One rusty hook gave way, power lines came crashing down, and suddenly, Paradise was gone. Now here's where the real betrayal kicks in. Who protects PG&E? Who shields them from lawsuits and accountability? You guessed it, Gavin Newsom. Why? Because they're one of his biggest donors. While Californians were burying loved ones and picking through rubble, their governor was making sure the company responsible for the destruction stayed safe. That's not just negligence. That's selling out your people to pad your own future campaign coffers.
Their equipment is over 100 years old. And so what started that fire was this metal hook that had eroded to the point where it broke. Power lines come crashing down onto dry brush. It sparks a fire and destroys an entire community.
And let me tell you something. When Anna Kasparian, someone who has defended Democrats her entire career, says flat out that Newsom is a sociopath, that should stop everyone in their tracks because it means the truth is finally too big to ignore. But of course, this isn't a one-off. It's a pattern. Wildfires are just one chapter in a much bigger book of failure. Let's talk about homelessness. If you've been to California lately, you know it's become ground zero for America's homelessness crisis. Tents stretching down sidewalks. Entire encampments swallowing neighborhoods. Families forced out of cities because crime and filth have made it unlivable.
Homelessness really exploded in Los Angeles. Like, it's always been a problem in LA.
Yep.
But it now touches every like square mile of that county.
And this didn't happen by accident. California has poured billions into programs that were supposed to solve the problem. Newsom loves to talk about compassion, about bold solutions, about how he's making progress. But guess what? The numbers don't lie. Homelessness has skyrocketed under his watch. Not only has he failed to fix the crisis, he's managed to make it worse.
Drug addiction, not just in LA, all across the country. Has there been any effort to do anything about this?
Zero.
And it makes me really angry.
The Sacklers are still billionaires.
Yep, exactly.
Let me ask you this. If a governor can't keep his state from literally burning to the ground and he can't keep people off the streets, what exactly is his resume for higher office? Smooth speeches? Fancy suits? A talent for dodging tough questions? That might get you applause at a campaign rally, but it doesn't save lives, and we haven't even touched the border yet. Remember when Kamala Harris was crowned the so-called border czar? Yeah, how's that working out? Chaos, cartels, fentanyl, violence. It's a disaster. And while Trump at least tried to push back, leaders like Gavin Newsom blocked deportations, undermined security, and shielded criminals in the name of compassion.
Unless we are willing to be honest, unless we're willing to tell the people trying to smear us, to silence us, that they can F off, nothing's going to improve. Everything's going to keep going down. Everything is going to continue devolving. In my lifetime, this country has only gotten worse, not better.
You know what? That's not compassion. You know what it is? Betrayal. Because here's the ugly truth. Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, AOC, pick your progressive darling. They all play the same game. It's not about results. It's about image, optics, applause lines. They live for the cameras, but vanish when the real work starts. And Americans are sick of it.
I want real authenticity. I want real accountability. I want politicians who are willing to see that the policies they advocated for aren't working quite as they intended, and they're willing to recalibrate, admit that maybe they got something wrong.
Now, let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one man. This is about a Democratic Party that has perfected the art of distraction. When they don't want you looking at the failures, the wildfires, the homelessness, the broken border, they throw shiny objects in your face. Remember the Russia collusion story that dragged on for years and produced nothing? Remember the endless gender debates shoved into every news cycle? It's all smoke and mirrors. Because while you're arguing on Twitter about pronouns, the real crises, your paycheck, your safety, your community, are being ignored. And that's the genius of their strategy. Keep you distracted, keep you divided, keep you fighting over cultural flashpoints while they protect their donors and secure their own careers.
The Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, there's a lot of similarities between the two.
They're in alignment.
Exactly. On the big issues that matter.
War and the economy.
War and the economy.
Biggest issues.
100%. They love to like distract us with shiny things.
Yeah, have a race war. Totally
100%.
fine.
Meanwhile, people like Gavin Newsom are quietly auditioning for the presidency, hoping you're too distracted to notice the trail of failure they've left behind. But people are starting to wake up. When even folks on the left are calling out the gaslighting, when even progressives are saying enough is enough, that's a sign the narrative is breaking down, because you can only cover up the truth for so long before reality comes crashing through.
They love to like distract us with shiny things.
Yeah, have a race war. Totally
100%.
fine. Yeah.
All these like social issues. By the way, social issues are important. I'm not minimizing them, but the way that they're framed by the establishment.
And here's the bottom line, folks. Gavin Newsom doesn't represent the future of America. He represents everything broken about politics today. He's not a savior. He's not a leader. He's a salesman, a man willing to sacrifice his own state if it means padding his resume for the White House. And the fact that his own side is beginning to see through him, that's the real story. Let me leave you with this question. How many more smooth talkers do we have to suffer through before we demand results? How many more times do we have to watch our leaders put donors above people, optics above solutions, politics above lives? Because until we start holding these people accountable, really accountable, nothing's going to change. But here's the good news. The more the mask slips, the harder it is to put back on, and Gavin Newsom's mask? It's cracking faster than he can keep up. Now, if you agree that America deserves better than a snake oil salesman in a tailored suit, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Newsom still has a shot at the presidency? Or has he already burned his chances the same way California burned under his watch? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about him. It's about us. Whether we're willing to stop falling for the show and start demanding the substance.